mental fortitude, which is, I think, one of my favorite applications that we can apply to yoga and mindfulness on and off the mat. So I was pretty excited to think about that one. And it came in to my life really strongly. On Saturday, I decided to go for a 4-mile walk in the dead heat of the day. It was hot, like 107 degrees heat index, hot. But I needed to move my body, and I just decided to put my sunscreen on, put a hat on, and go for it. So about just a quarter of a mile in, I was starting to really regret my decision to go for a walk in the dead of the heat. So I wanted to turn back. I really was struggling, and I was struggling because I wasn't willing to open up to the full spectrum of the experience. I was trapped in the story of my temporary discomfort. So the story of my discomfort was loud. I was hot. I was sweaty. I was uncomfortable. And that's what it really came down to, that I was just uncomfortable. Did I go on the walk to be comfortable per se? No, I did not. I did not go on the walk in the heat to seek comfort. I went on the walk because I needed to move my body. And one thing I kind of remind myself in those moments is that I am not entitled to comfort. We are not entitled to comfort. So when we're not applying fortitude, we bail. And we bail because we resist. So what was I resisting? I was resisting the temporary discomfort of the heat. It was a little bit like, I don't know if painful is not really the right word, but I wasn't in any danger. There was no mental or physical trauma at hand. So what is it that I was resisting? The heat. I can't change that. I mean, it's already a little unpleasant out there, or a little unpleasant, say, when you're in plank and you're holding it for a long time. Why make it worse by adding on this mental struggle? So there's a difference between pain and suffering. Pain is the temporary sensation we can observe where it's coming from. Watch it change, watch it fade away. And suffering is the story we tell ourselves about the pain. It's the resistance. So suffering is the resistance, and resistance only amplifies our pain. So a good phrase that I'm going to say a few more times is that what we resist persists. And resistance stems from our natural desire to control our surroundings and seek safety. But within us all is the ability to feel safe through our own care. And sometimes work itself, while uncomfortable, is care. Planks can be care. A walk in the heat can be care, because what we're building is our muscle to endure uncomfortable things. So it's strengthened over time. So don't be hard on yourself if you find that you're getting lost in the struggle. Be happy that you're aware that you get lost. And that's really the magic moment. So today, or in class or out of class, your homework is just to notice when your mind wanders, or when your instinct to bail in a difficult position flares up. When do you seek distraction in place of discomfort? And then ask yourself, what am I resisting? And remember that what we resist persists. So that is my Dharma talk on fortitude and through the lens of resistance. And if there aren't any questions or thoughts, then we can go ahead and put it into practice. So I will mute you all so you don't have to come over to your computers. I gotcha. And we'll get started moving. Oh, Frank is teaching class today. Are you teaching, buddy? Thank you. Okay, let's start at the top of our mat, feet wide. We're gonna start in temple pose. This is one of my favorites. Thumbs on the insides. Let your hips come down nice and low. And we'll sway gently from side to side. You're gently pressing your knees in opposite directions, letting your hips settle towards the earth, and your shoulders will come up towards your ears. I'm gonna take these off. Let's add a little bit of a twisting action here. Tuck your chin into your chest, draw navel to spine, like in cat pose. And then on your exhale, lengthen through your spine, reach your hips back, look towards your left. Inhale through center, exhale over to the right. Again, think cow pose as you twist towards your right, press your left knee away. Inhale through center. We're going to do one more time on each side, to the left. Ooh. Draw in through the middle. Look over to the right. Then we'll come back to center. Straighten through your legs. Turn your toes to face the front or towards each other, towards the center. Inhale your arms out and up. Lift through your heart. Exhale, slight bend in your knees, hinge forward, hands come all the way down. We're gonna come right back up, little bend in your knees, keep your spine long as you rise. Exhale again, hinge from your hips rather than folding through your back. Inhale, sweep your arms out wide. Exhale, bending from hips rather than back. One more time, come all the way up to standing. Bring your hands through center. Interlace your hands behind you. Reach your knuckles down towards the earth. Reach your sternum towards the ceiling. Little bit of a bend in your knees again. And this time we'll hinge forward. Arms come up and over. Shake your head, yes and no. If you want to add a straightening one leg at a time, this can feel really nice. And then come to center, release your arms, still a little bit of a bend in your knees, and grab a hold of your elbows. Neck is loose. And then you can try the same thing if you want to bend your knees again, one at a time. Place your hands on the mat and step back into our friend downward dog. Pedal in place. Open up through the backs of your legs, through your calves and hamstrings. Think about reaching your heel down and your hips up. And then come into your downward dog. Reach your heels above your toes, chin to chest. Round your back, catch a wave forward into plank. Lengthen out from heel to sternum. Inhale, strong core to lift you back up into downward dog. Soften through your ankles. Inhale, round forward into plank. Lengthen, feel the strength, press your fingertips. And then inhale, come back to downward dog. One more time, articulate your spine as you arrive. And then come into a good fortified position in plank. And then elbows point back, lower all the way down to the earth. Tops of feet are anchored into the mat or into your floor. Tops of fingers press down. Shoulders loop. We'll do 3 rounds of cobra. And exhale, release that first one. See if you can come up a little bit higher this time. Shoulders loop. Reach your heart forward and soften. Let's do one more. Shoulders loop. Keep the back of your neck long. Use your hands more on this last one to create length across the front of your body. And then melt back to the mat. Hands underneath your shoulders, toes tuck, knees lift, navel to spine, and then through plank or knee plank, back to downward dog. Take a deep inhale here. And then as you exhale, hop, step, or walk to the front of your mat. Lengthen out halfway and exhale, fold. Place your thumbs in your hip creases. Reach your heart forward, hips back, and we'll come to standing with a long spine. From the front of your mat, keep your feet underneath your hips. Bend at your knees, send your hips back, knees track over the front of your feet. Inhale your arms up over your head for chair pose. Hips move down and back, and watch out for an over-exaggerated bend in your lower back. So you may have to find a slight posterior tilt of your pelvis. And then come forward onto your toes. Lift your ankles up as high as you can, working a little bit on balance here, which is always a great way to practice some of our mental fortitude skills. Whoop. All right, bring your hands together. Exhale, fold forward. You can release your heels back to the earth. And then inhale your left leg straight up towards the ceiling. Exhale, step back into lunge and lower your back knee. Climb aboard your front knee. Inhale, tuck your chin into your chest. Exhale, hips move down and forward, lift your heart. Let's do that a couple more times. Chin to chest. Exhale, hips move down and forward. Last time, hollow out. And then reach your sternum up. Hands come back down to the mat. Tuck your back toes, lift your back knee. Step into plank. Draw navel to spine, elbows point directly back as you lower to the earth. Fingertips press down, shoulders loop, collarbones broad, and then release. Hands underneath your shoulders, toes tuck through plank or knee plank, back to downward dog. We will, from here, lift your left leg straight back. Exhale, take your knee towards your chest, shift forward, left foot to left thumb. Ground your right knee. Climb aboard once again. Tuck your chin, press your hands forward, and then shoulders loop like they do in Cobra as your hips move towards the front of the mat. Two more. Hollow out. And then a little bit of a back bend here, even you'll find. Last one. Chin to chest. Shoulders loop, heart lifts. Hands to the mat. This time, it's something different. So lift your back knee. Shift the weight into your front foot as you lift your right. And then place your right foot next to your left. Come up just halfway. Shift towards the front of your feet. Exhale, fold. Thumbs hook into your hips once again. Come up with a long spine. We'll come straight into chair pose. Hips low, heart high, arms reaching above with your pinkies turned inward. And then come once again up onto your toes. So your heels are as high as you can get them, but your hips are still going low. so you can feel your strong legs activate. You start shaking a little bit, you know that's when it's working. Pay attention to the sensations of strength. Whoop. And then bring your hands together. Exhale, fold. Lengthen out halfway, reach your heart forward. And exhale, hands down to the mat. We'll do that cycle again. Left leg, reach up towards the ceiling. Exhale, ground your left foot onto the mat, left knee. Actually, let's change it up just a little bit. Reach your thumbs forward and up and shift back as your hands come up into half splits. And then you'll bring the palms of your hands down as you come through half splits without touching the ground. And then sweep your hands forward and up as your hips move forward. So palms turn out, give yourself a little pranic shower. Straighten through your front leg. Inhale, reach your arms up. Last time, shift back into half splits. Come back into lunge, place your hands on the mat, tuck your back toes, lift your back knee. Step into plank with control, and then lower all the way down. Press your feet down and back. Reach your heart forward as you peel away. And then soften back down. Hands under shoulders, through plank, back to downward dog. Left leg, inhale, lift. Exhale, knee to chest. Shift forward, foot to thumb. Back knee down. Starting in lunge, thumbs lead. Inhale as your arms rise, you send your hips back. And then exhale, palms turn out. And we'll come back forward again. Hips move forward, heart lifts. Shift back into half splits. Again, lift your arms over your head. Turn your palms away, elbows point down. Hands come all the way down to the earth. Follow me here, tuck your back toes, lift your back knee, and then shift weight to your front foot. Lift your right leg. Exhale, right foot to meet left foot. Inhale up just halfway. Exhale, fold. Thumbs and hips come up with a long spine. Keep your knees bent. Sweep your arms forward and up. Come up to your toes. Lift your heels. Now we're gonna add a little bit of a twist. So sweep both hands even with the horizon. Leave your left arm where it is, and your right arm goes back. Look towards your right hand. See if you can keep your heels lifted. Inhale, hands come back to center, both hands over your head. One more, we're gonna do two more or one more on each side, I'm sorry. Arms parallel, left hand keeps going. Look back towards your left hand. Hands together. Inhale, arms over your head. Let's see if you can apply that fortitude. Do one more on each side. Right hand sweeps back. Ooh, if you fall out of it, you just come right back in it. That's the fortitude. Hands back to center. Reach over your head. One more time on the left. Reach back. Come back to center. And then let's straighten our legs. Bring both hands over our head. Reach through your sternum. And then exhale. Lower your heels. Hinge forward. Hands to the mat. Inhale up halfway. Press palms into shins. Exhale, fold. And then let's step back into all fours and come into a position on our back so we can set up for our core work today. With all that talk of using plank as a way to practice fortitude, bet you thought we were doing plank today. Guess what? We're not. Plenty of other applications. So arrive on your back and cross first your left ankle over your right, like you're going to do pigeons. Instead, though, we're going to make it fun core work. So take your hands behind your head, lift your head, neck, and shoulders off the mat, even the bottom of your shoulder blade. And then take your right leg, so your right shin is parallel. Keep both feet active by pressing left ankle into right knee and right knee back into left foot or ankle. Now, on an inhale, you'll stretch your right leg out, press actively away, upper body lowers down just 25% or so. And then on the exhale, draw everything back up into center. Inhale, press your right foot out. Exhale, draw in. Keep going. Try not to rush it. And pay attention to all the sensations and notice which ones you're identifying as good or bad. Lengthen out. Exhale, draw in. Lengthen out one more time. Exhale, draw everything back into center and hold it here. Keep your heart lifted as much as you can, and then just move your lower body for these little pulses. And I want you to feel heat. I want this to feel like, ooh, man, I definitely can tell that I'm working, but I'm not going to bail. What am I resisting? What makes me want to bail? What's the story that I'm telling myself that makes me think that I should bail rather than continue to feel this sensation? It's not trauma inducing. I'm okay. One more breath. And then lower your right leg. You can lower your left leg, take your arms over your head, feet out wide between sides. We'll work out any tension that may have arisen by taking our knees from side to side. Sometimes it's nice to just discharge that before we head into the new side so we don't take it with us. Okay, let's come back to center. Tension diffused. Cross this time your right over your left. Hands behind your head. Head, neck, and shoulders. Keep your gaze towards the ceiling to not crunch your neck. And then lift your left leg. Start making this active with your all limbs by pressing foot into leg and leg into foot. And then on your inhale, lengthen out. Press your left foot away, lower 25% down. Exhale, come all the way back to center. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, coil back in. Keep going. Notice what your tendency is when it comes to pace. Is it to go fast so that we just get it done? Or is there something to be learned by paying attention and sticking with those difficult, uncomfortable sensations? Exhale, draw in. We'll lengthen out one more time. And then you know what's coming. Draw it in. Keep your head, neck, and shoulders lifted and just pulse your lower body. So you're only moving from your hips. And even your leg and your left foot and your right leg stay exactly as they are. So this work is coming from your center. In yoga, we call that Agni. It's your internal fire. Pay attention, witness your own strength. One more breath here. And then lower your left foot, lower your right foot. Keep both feet as wide as your mat. Again, arms over your head. And we'll discharge tension once again, taking your knees from side to side. Once your knees get over to the right, pause there for a moment. Take your right foot on top of your left if that feels okay with your knees, and you'll gently press your right foot into your left thigh to lengthen the front of your left hip. Notice if you have any tightness in your shoulders that is unnecessary. And then release your right foot. Take knees through center to the left side. And we'll take the same action if it's okay with you. Left foot on top of right. And think about taking a small posterior tilt here, which is the tilt in our pelvis that we make when we come into cat pose. And then come back to center. We will come to standing. So there's a lot of ways we can do that. You can roll to your side and then press up to standing, or you may take your hands behind your thighs and we'll roll approximately 3 times to get some momentum and see if you can roll to standing without even using your hands. Ta-da! Excellent work. Okay, now from the top of your mat, take your feet underneath your hips, or you can take your hands to your hips as well. Shift the weight into your left leg and come up onto your right toes. Turn your right leg out. So you're in sassy person pose. And you'll either bring the sole of your foot to the inside of your left calf or to the inside of your left thigh. So a couple things to look out for here. One is your left hip pointing out to your left side. So draw your left hip back into, whoa. Draw your left hip back into center. Press thigh into foot and foot into thigh. Draw lower ribs in. Reach your sternum up. Start with your hands at your heart. Or maybe you want your hands out to the side. Or hands could be up over your head, pinkies turned in. Really want to make this interesting. Close down your eyes. Notice what happens. It's a practice of reactivity. Whoop. It's a lot harder to close down your eyes. All right, then we'll bring your right foot to the mat, hands to your hips. Just take some easy hip circles. So we leave any tension behind us and the other side. And we'll come to standing once again, feet under your hips. Shift weight into your right foot. Kickstand the left leg. And then you've got options, below knee or above knee. And one other thing for you to pay attention here is that your left knee isn't necessarily going to be pointing straight out, because for me at least, when I do that, then my hips turn to the left. But I want your hips to be like headlights. You could even point your fingers like I'm doing straight ahead and put your palms on the outsides of your hips. And are your fingers pointing to the side or to the front? So keep them pointing to the front. It's okay if your knee isn't straight out. 4 to 5 through center by pressing foot into knee and knee into foot into leg and leg into foot. Hands can be at heart or out or up above. Option to close down your eyes and just notice how that changes things. Keep your focus on your breath. And bring your hands through center. Ground your left foot. Again, just free feeling, free flowing hip circles. Doesn't have to be anything rigid or perfect. Just going from side to side. And we'll come back to the top of our mat, feet under your hips. We'll take a breath in chair pose with our both feet on the ground. Inhale, arms up over your head. Lift your toes only for the purpose of shifting your weight into your heels. You just don't need them in this pose. And bring your hands through center. Exhale, fold forward, hands all the way to the mat. Inhale, lengthen out, bring your palms to your shins, shoulder blades down towards your hips. Exhale, fold forward and step into downward dog. Once in downward dog, bring your toes towards each other and lift your right leg straight back and up. Open up through your hips. Let your foot come as high as it can and bend at your right knee. So we've got a nice open hip here. Shoulders remain square to the front of your mat so that you're not collapsing through your left side. One more inhale. And on your exhale, take your knee through center. Keep it lifted. Follow me here. Keep it lifted up towards your chest. Press it towards your nose. Shoulders over wrists. Inhale, press your right foot straight back out. Lengthen. Exhale, knee to nose, and this time hold. Again, practice of not bailing. Keep it lifted. Use your strong center. One more breath, and then place your right foot between your hands. Ground your left heel so you're in heel to arch alignment. Right knee bends over right foot. Left hand flows up and over for warrior two. On your inhale, lift your hips just an inch or two and bring your hands over your head. On your exhale, take your hips low again. Bring your hands parallel with the ground. Inhale, hands come up. Exhale, ground the energy as your knee rebends. Keep your back leg strong. Two more. Exhale, settle, press your feet down and apart. Last one, pull your feet towards each other. And again, press feet down and apart. We'll take one big inhale in reverse warrior. So flip your palm. Left hand traces down your left leg. Bend your right knee as your right arm comes up and over. Keep the space in your right side. Exhale, come forward. Right elbow on the inside of your right knee. Manually turn your left ribs back, palm open. Sweep your left hand along your left side, so your left bicep is by your left ear. Now, lift your right heel. A little more way to add some fun into side angle pose, which fun in side angle pose is what we've all been looking for all this time. Again, practice your willingness to stay in discomfort. Your fortitude gets exercised. All right, lower your right heel. Keep your right knee bent. This is the hardest part, to come back into warrior two just for a moment. And then straighten your front knee. Turn your toes to face the front. Inhale, sweep your arms up over your head. A healthy bend in your knees as you fold forward. Bring your hands to the mat and pivot towards the front. Keep your back knee lifted. Step into plank. Press a lot into your fingertips as you lower down. Now balance the strength with ease. And cobra. Exhale, release. Tuck your toes, knees lift, and then back to downward dog. Lift your left leg as high as you can. Let your hips open. Bend your knees. You're pressing up through your left knee, down through your right heel. Shoulders are square. Hands press towards each other. And then on your next exhale, draw your knee in towards your chest. Keep it lifted as you shift forward. Shoulders come all the way over wrist. Press into your fingertips. Inhale, stretch your left leg back out. Exhale, knee draws in, right heel lifts, shift forward. Keep it lifted, keep it lifted. Just a couple more breaths. Stay with me. And then place left foot next to, or right in between your hands, underneath your nose. Ground your back heel and follow your right hand up and over into warrior two. Ankles should be about under wrists. So I needed to widen my stance there just a little bit. And shoulders over hips. Once you have solid foundation in place, we'll add a little bit of movement. Inhale, arms up. Again, exhale, press down. This is a great place to close your eyes. Inhale, breathe, arms up over your head. And exhale with power for press down. Two more. Let the movement flow naturally with your breath. Last one. And exhale, hands come back parallel. Flip your front palm. Backhand traces down your back leg, which is your cue to bend your front knee before you flip your top arm back up for one big breath in reverse warrior. And then left elbow on the inside, not on top of left thigh. Manually roll your right ribs back with your right hand. And then sweep right hand along the earth, pinky points down. Activate your back leg by pressing the outside edge of your right foot into the mat. Draw your right knee up towards your right hip to keep your thighs active and helping be a part of this, so it's not all just on your left leg. And as your left leg sings louder, oh, we forgot to lift our heel. Lift your heel. As your left leg sings, take into account the full spectrum of this situation. It's not just your leg, but your arm, your breath, crown of your head. Stay with it. One more breath. Now ground your left heel. Come into warrior two without straightening your front foot or front leg. And then straighten it. Turn your feet towards each other. Breathe your arms up over your head. Exhale, hinge forward. pivot to the top of your mat. Square your hips. Step back into plank. Press into your fingertips. Elbows brush your rib cages as you lower down. Lengthen from the crown of your head to your feet. Draw your shoulder blades together and then release. Hands under your shoulders. Toes tuck, knees lift. Navel to spine through plank to downward dog. From downward dog, walk to the top of your mat. Lengthen out halfway. Exhale, fold. The healthy bend in your knees, thumbs to hip creases, come up with this long back and find standing pose. Okay, final peak pose here is another standing balance. This time we're going to add a little more of an external rotation through our hip. We'll start with our hands on our hips and shift into your right foot. Draw your left knee up towards your hip and then externally rotate. So take your knee out to the side. Now place left ankle on right thigh, much like we did in our core. Press those two together and then bend your hips backward or bend at your hips. So send your hips back. Keep lifting through your heart. Notice a tendency for your left hip to want to work its way down and back. So keep your hips level. You may have to press your right hip back a bit to keep everything in line. You can use your hands to help notice where you're losing some of that stability. Once your hips are in line, take your palms to your heart and press your hands together so you feel the strength of this position, even in your shoulders. It's some tensions can help things draw together and keep us stable. And some tensions are bad. This is one of the tensions that's holding us together. And then you can straighten your bottom leg, bring your hands to your hips, lower your left knee. Take whatever action feels good to you to clean the slate for the next round. And we'll start again. So you can start with your kickstand if you want, or just draw your right knee up. Externally rotate and place right ankle on left thigh. I immediately notice that my right hip is turning back. So I'm going to use this awareness to correct and keep both hips level rather than one above the other, which is my tendency in this position. We all have different bodies. We all have different tendencies. Notice yours. Once you are level and stable, bring your hands together. Press your hands towards each other with some, like with a little bit of pressure. So you're using some effort here to help create the right kind of tension. Stabilize through your core. Focus on something that isn't moving. And then straighten your left leg. Bring your hands to your hips. We'll take hip circles once again. It's my favorite thing in the world. And we'll come back to center. Feet underneath your hips. One final slate cleansing vinyasa. Reach your arms up over your head. Healthy bend in your knees as you dive forward. Look back behind you as you fold. Inhale, come up halfway. Palms press into shins. Shoulder blades move down. Exhale, fold. We'll step straight into plank. Exhale, lower to the mat. Peel yourself away. Exhale, melt back down. Then we'll come up through all fours, make our way to our backs. Feet move aside, and let your legs stretch out in front of you. Come all the way down to your back. Need to adjust my shirt here. And we'll take a round of bridge and then a round of supported fish pose using our arms, or fish, actually it's not supported fish pose, it's just fish pose. You'll see. All right, so bend at your elbows, fingertips point up, and you want your feet roughly underneath your knees. Watch for your knees, make sure they don't splay out as you come up into your back bend. So press down into your feet, lift your hips, and then you can wriggle a little bit to get your shoulders organized underneath you. And that helps create space behind your heart, helps you illuminate your back bend a little more. Maybe here you want to interlace your fingers, straighten out through your arms. Keep pressing down and forward through your feet. Lengthen through the front of your body. Check in with your breath. And then lower all the way back down to the mat. From here, take your hands underneath your booty just a little bit so your thumbs are really underneath your booty. And then you'll lengthen your feet out. Then we're going to come up on so I have to pull my hands back a little bit actually here. You're going to come up onto your elbows. And then your elbows are going to point straight back. And then you'll lift your heart as you start to drop your head back. If this is at all uncomfortable on your neck, we don't usually do a position like this, and I want you to just keep looking forward. So you listen to your body today and see what it's telling you. If this is okay with you, press down into your elbows, lift your heart. And this is also a nice cooling back bend. Fish pose. To come out of it, we'll just press into our hands, tuck our chin, and come to our backs. You can release your hands. And then start to get grounded for Shavasana. Legs can be wide. Take your arms out to your sides, palms open. Then I always advise readjusting your shoulders so they're more underneath you, which allows your palms to turn open more and creates more space across your collarbones. We'll go through a quick body scan and then straight into Shavasana. Draw your attention to your ankles. Notice any tension in your knees. Soften through your hips. Release your abdomen. Dissolve any tightness in your shoulders. Relax your jaw, cheekbones. Let your eyes be heavy. Smooth out your forehead. Bring your attention to the places where your body meets the earth. and let go. Shavasana. Without opening your eyes or moving, just bring your consciousness back to the space around you. And then incorporate small movements through fingers and toes, small circles of wrists and ankles. Inhale your arms over your head, stretch from fingertips to toe tips. Exhale your knees into your chest. Roll to one side and observe for a moment the present conditions of your mind. And press yourself up into a seated position. Bring your palms to heart center, a gesture of gratitude. Gratitude that we extend to ourselves, to our community, and to the people and yogis in our life that have made it possible for us to have this practice. May you and all living things be safe, be happy, be healthy, and live with ease. Namaste. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Penny.
Appreciate you guys.
Back at you.
Frank does too.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.